All right, welcome everyone. This is a Viper Professional Training and Support webinar. Today's date is Saturday, April the 30th, 2016. And the title of today's webinar is Drawing Your Charts, but where? And as everyone knows that's been to our webinars or our live trading rooms, everything that we say and do at Viper Trading Systems is for educational purposes only. Futures trading, Forex trading, any kind of financial instruments trading involves risk. Therefore, there's always risk of loss. You should only trade discretionary capital, and that is money that you can afford to lose. Nothing said in this webinar. Other webinars we might have, our live trading rooms, or anything else with Viper Trading Systems should ever be construed as trading or investment advice. And as always, everyone does trade at their own sole discretion. Any questions on the disclaimer? All right, if not, I think we'll go ahead and get started. All right, I don't see any questions, so let me make sure that you're seeing the screen of the disclaimer, and I'm going to go ahead and go over to another screen. Now, one thing I want to say before I start that screen, though, does everybody try to go ahead and visualize their charts as much as possible? You know, try to take a lot of the things out of your mind, you know, and just study the price action. And if you can't really see it, you know, draw on a few charts and just get them as, for lack of a better term, to get them as naked as you can. You know, it's summertime, put them in shorts, I guess. But the whole thing is that you want to have your chart where you can read it, but you also need to be able to see the trend. Now, I did this one on purpose. I have no axis or anything. All you know is that it's a CL chart, okay? But real quick on that chart, and I hope it's not too hard to see, but I don't think it is. Anybody, what's the trend? I mean, what direction would you want to be going? Absolutely, right? I mean, that's a no-brainer. That's an absolute no-brainer because that chart right this very moment is heading up. Now, what you want to do on your charts is draw your lines, okay? Now, I don't see any prices or anything like that, so I'm only going to be able to draw by these points. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just draw a horizontal line. And let me ask you a quick question too. Where would, at this moment on this chart, this have to do to change the medium trend? Which one of those prices would it have to take out? Because if you trade against that, you're going to more than likely lose some money occasionally because you're not going to get all your trades right. You certainly don't want to just scalp for 5 or 6 ticks with a 12-tick stop, because if you make half the thing right, you'll probably just pay your broker. You might break even, something like that. But yeah, exactly. You can clearly see if you draw on this chart. I'm going to go ahead and draw our lightning on here. Now, that's pretty much telling you that's just straight up, isn't it? But where's your swing on the chart? Well, it's right here. That's at this moment. Now, if this had done this and then busted up here, it could be here instead, right? Because it's going to come down, it's going to test and stuff like that. So, you know, this is where it's at right now. Now, we know that at later times it's going to change, but this is where it's at right now. So when I draw on my charts in that room in the mornings, I look at these areas and I say, you know what? If it doesn't break that little area right there, we're not really looking for shorts except for scalping it, right? Very important to know this, because, you know, when you trade with the trend, you're going to make a lot more money. You are hearing the sound, right? Everybody's hearing the sound. Michael was saying he wasn't hearing it, but I think he's good now. Okay, good. All right, so just a very, very simple chart, isn't it? And that everybody in this room got this. So I want you on Monday to draw on your charts and see where the lower swing is. Okay, now what I do on my charts, and you know I don't deviate from this either, you've got your, basically your lightning 3 is what you guys have got, but I've got these new scripts and I'm still trying to get my programmer to get me a 4th one, but he has been busier than anybody out there with his, you know, regular job, and it's almost a lost cause sometimes. But anyway, he's a really, really good programmer, but I've just got to pin him down. But I want one more of these, and then I'm going to release it. But I've got mine set right now on a 1 for my strength. Now you can put this on a 2 if you don't really want to just see every little jot, as it goes up or down. All right, a 2 is good. And then you're usually using the normal 4 range. Yours is not MTF yet. So if you put yours on 15 strength, that's what it is right there. Okay, and that's the one that I've got the shift bar set on right now. Okay, and if I do this, of course, that lightning will go away because it reloads the chart. Okay. Now we've also got these predictors, which are really good too, because obviously when you put them on your chart, you can pretty much see, where they're going to retrace to. See, isn't it amazing where that one right there, this is already showing an ellipse right here. It'll probably show an ellipse down here in a little bit or even down in here. You just have to play the chart, of course, to see. But let's go ahead and go to the actual chart, and let's draw on our chart in that exact same spot, 4525, isn't it? 4625. Let's go ahead and go to that chart that's active. Now, isn't this actually the same chart right here? See, there's that 4625 right there, right? There's that 4663, which was the high, right? So that's pretty much telling you the same exact thing, except now we've got something on our charts so that we can actually see it. Now, I want to show you something today that's going to make a little difference in your trading, because I don't personally like to box in these little areas of prices unless they take out resistance. Because to give you an example, let's say that you had boxed this in like right across here, because this is all you've seen at the time. Let's just say that you've seen it like this, okay, and you've boxed it in. All right, now if you boxed it in with a touch, you just got filled, okay? Now to me, on the micro side of this, the lightning is right there. So I would really want to take that out, and then I calculate, okay, I've got a target here, and I got a target here, and maybe higher. But you want to really take out these resistance lightnings first, okay? Because what will happen a lot of times is that they just won't take that out, but they'll wick you into a trade, and then they'll come on down like to mid-band or something like that. Okay, see how that would have wicked you in? Now I've got my ellipsis doing wrong. I'll go ahead and fix this real quick. I did that on that other chart on purpose, and then we'll go ahead and reload the script so that it won't do those really heavy ellipses. I don't like those. Okay, does everybody see what I'm talking about on here? That if you draw your lightning on this chart with lines and everything, that's pretty much telling you where that would break up, and that would be your target right there, right? But once this does this little wick, and doesn't get you in, then I'd raise it up even just a little bit more like that. That's what Charles and I teach. Okay. Now, if this was to take out this line to the upside with a closed bar, then, who knows? Maybe we want to go ahead and get in this, right? Let's see. That is a mistake I've been making. Thanks for pointing that out, Brian. Oh, okay. No problem. Because it's really important to know where resistance is. And we reposition our boxes when we see these wicks, because you want to be really careful when they try to wick you in these trades. Watch this right here and see if this resistance holds or not. Now, if it does, we would obviously go ahead and take it, right? But watch it as it pings around resistance. These little fake deals can get you in really quickly. And the problem is, if you put like a 12-tick stop and it does happen to come down to mid-band, you just gave up 12 ticks. And yet you're still looking for longs, and yet you gave up 12 ticks on a bad trade. Okay, so I like to personally draw on my charts. I think it's really, really important. Right now you don't really have much to draw on this chart with lightning 2, but you can clearly see that that's resistance right there, right? See it right there, drawing on your chart? See that little swing right there? And notice how it just barely taken it out. Okay, so I put my entry like that, and then I would just simply reposition my box like this. Okay. Now, if this gets me in, then power to it. Okay. But obviously, you want to position it at little resistance. See how that did? See how it did right there? Now you're expecting it to go a little bit lower, and if you're a gutsy trader and you want to just take a, like a quick 5-tick trade, you could go ahead and do that, if it takes out this little swing right here, because you got a target down here. But I'm not going to show, so much counter trend tonight. I want to show you how to get in these trades where they need to be gotten into. Okay, see how drawing on your chart made a difference of where you didn't get just sucked into that trade right there? And it didn't come down to mid-band. One thing I would highly suggest is be very careful unless you can go to the left and see a really good swing when they give these yellow bars like this, because as a rule, that can be a fake. You got to be really careful with that. Okay, and you've also got to calculate, I've got 4 ticks before my bar closes, and I've got like a target right here or a breakout. You see what I mean? You got to kind of draw it at resistance levels. Okay, I like lightning for that reason purposely. Okay, let's see if we can get a little trade on here. Now I do see a swing down here. Let's go ahead and draw our line. And I do see a swing right here. Okay, see that swing? Right to left, that's an a priori. And then I look to the left to trade the right, and I see another one right there. So in the room, I would draw like this. I would say, okay, if it comes down to there, between those two lines, I would be looking for a trade. Let's see if we can get it. Drawing on our charts. I don't know why this one's drawing blue and those are drawing white. Doesn't matter, I guess. I was drawing them white on that black chart so everybody could see them. Let's speed this up just a little bit. Now remember, we said, where is the change of the guard, so to speak? Well, if it takes out 25 right at this moment anyway, you can pretty much figure that that's going to be changing definitely to the downside. Now what I want to caution you about is these little trades that you box below mid-band, okay, except at the open of the market as much. See, like for instance, if we were to wait for a little box to draw under here, you might have down to here, but you expect a higher low, right? So what have we looked at on this chart so far? We haven't had anything but a short, then we have a long, and we're having a yellow bar probe, but it looks like it's going to go deeper. So now you're looking for what? You're looking for line 3. And there's your ellipse, a beautiful little ellipse right there. So there's your little swing right there. I'm going to look for a trade to come into play right across here at that ellipse. See my little swing? And you can keep doing this bit about resistance, okay? Resistance to the left is right across here. See this little thrust retrace right there? So if you were to try to get this trade to the upside, rather than getting faked in, you would want to take that out. Let's see if we can get something drawn. Now I would probably more than likely have already taken that because it came right down where I wanted it. But let's just wait. All right, right now we've got resistance right up here. Now it's right on top of that little wick. Now they're checking that resistance right there. See it? They went a little higher first, and they checked this one right there where that swing is. Now that's where I would put my entry right there if that was to go ahead and close. So let's go ahead and hit a little region. We'll go ahead and do a close and see if we can get something. Oh, and we don't want to short. No. There we go. The reason we don't want to short is why, everyone? We talked about it on the black chart. It has not taken out that low. And like I say, you got to be really careful. This has actually got a phantom even before it takes out that low, doesn't it? Or at least at it. Yeah. We see that all the time. Now, like I say, I'm kind of one of those that probably likes to buy this right here. This is like a little secondary swing. But I'm going to go ahead and do this a little bit safer way just to show you how it should work still. But you're going to have your stop under wherever this is wicking now. Okay, your resistance is still right up here. We'll go ahead and do the 3 that we talked about. Now, I was talking with one of our members yesterday, and we were actually looking at a chart while it was live in the afternoon on oil, and it was doing something like this right here. But you got to be really careful just jumping in them, because you can get on the wrong side of a trade pretty easily if you're not careful. Let's see, can you enlarge the chart? Sure. Is that a little bit small? Something more like that. I like to see those swings to the left, and that doesn't let me do that, but we already know where they're at, so we're good. Now that's getting higher lows. See this right here? You got a high, a low, a high, a higher low. It's just checking this one. Yeah, it's still going sideways right now. See why it's important not to just jump in the trade? We don't know where it's going to go just yet. Now, if this was to break under here, could we short this? Probably not until you see that it's actually going to go the other direction. Because see, this is your line in the sand, so to speak, that should make the difference of whether it goes down. But then you look at it and say, whoa, wait a minute, I've still got a phantom. Okay, and that phantom, like I say, is pretty important, especially first time after a trend change. This has not had a phantom trade yet. And it looks like we're going to get filled. Now, like I say, you're going to have to keep your stop underneath this swing. And where is your target on this chart right here? Well, your target on this chart would be right here at this swing. I'd probably at least get rid of 2 of them on that swing. And then you could ride a runner like that. Not such a great trade so far. Breakouts most always recheck. Most always. Okay, and see, you're thinking, oh, I'm down 100. Well, I'm not now. I'm okay. All right, so let's go ahead and take 2 off. If it hits this swing, that's resistance. And then we'll ride a runner, and then we're going to put our stop right underneath that swing right there. And I'll get rid of the region. We don't really need it right now. Okay? So that's our little trade right there. Everybody see that? Now, if this continues to go, of course, we'll have us a great trade. Now, let's see if we can get us another lightning swing, because we're going to move our stop. Everybody knows where we like to keep our tight stop anyway. Right now, it's here because that's your lightning. And that's right at cost. It'll go ahead and close above here, like at least to here at that swing. We got rid of 2, didn't we? Now, when they wick like that, you can go ahead and protect this. And you might even do it on an exit on close just in case. You know, because this isn't doing a whole lot right here. You still got red bars, and they're not really slamming this thing up yet. And you haven't had a phantom trade yet. See if we can get us a little something. I'd probably bring it underneath this swing right here just in case, because that's a good 12 ticks, and it just hit resistance. That's a little tight, but that's also right at resistance. And then you're out. All this did is actually just hit this resistance right here. Now, if it was to pop up again, what would you have to do? Well, obviously, you'd have to wait for it to break, pull back. Okay, because you're not really just jumping in this trade just anywhere you want. You got to wait for the proper thing to happen. We diagnosed this one, and now we're looking for another one. I see a lightning swing right through here. If you're a gutsy trader and you want to try for like 5 ticks, you certainly could if it broke that line. That's your lightning swing. See it? High, low, higher, high. But it did close above that swing. See on that bar right there, this one right here where my cursor's at. So I would probably be tempted to take that for a quick, but only a quick. Didn't get it. And I'm going to put a very, very tight stop on it. Because that's a lower high, and I expect it to go hopefully a little lower, at least to that mid band anyway. And that should be a 5 ticker. Okay, good. All right, now let's look and see, what have we not had on this chart? Let's diagnose our chart in real time. Anybody? What have we not had so far? We had a yellow bar probe that did not come down deep enough, so we had a line 3. That's what we're looking for. Now what are we looking for? We're looking for phantom. Draw the line on your chart, look to the left to trade the right. You can even check your fib numbers if you want to. Phantoms are pretty darn good trades though, anywhere between these 2 lines, like so. We're looking for longs only. And I usually like to get a touch plus 2 or even 3 on these phantoms. And then you want to actually set your region. Go ahead and bring it down. And if you're a little breakout trader, obviously if it took out this little swing here, see that little lightning swing right there? You could actually take it to the upside, but keep in mind that if you do that particular trade, your stop's still got to be under here. So I'm going to set that like that. Okay? There's your phantom trade. Now, looking to the left to trade the right, I can see a high, a low, a higher high. So this little low here, looking to the left, should hold if we're going to continue up. Okay, now if you don't like this particular trade, let me show you another way to trade it. And everybody, I think, knows what I'm going to go for, right? We're going to go for a box in. So let's just get rid of the trade, and I'll show you how to box it in. Where's resistance on this chart? Well, it's right there where it did that little lightning swing, and I also look to the left to trade the right, and I see it right there too. So I'd probably wait for it to break that to head up, okay? Because that's a little resistance area that's not been checked yet. And if it hits it and rolls over, then obviously we could actually be heading down instead of up. Okay, so let's see if we can get that again. We'll turn off the bottom one. This is more of a breakout trade. All right, let's see if we can take out that resistance. Remember our low on that chart was 25? Did you see, if you look at this, they just pretty much just wicked it. That's what they do. See there? They wicked that 25 by, looks like 3 ticks. So to me, by looking at our little black chart earlier, remember, this is still an uptrend, isn't it? Because we're all the way over here now, and that's holding. So wouldn't you think that this will more than likely be to the upside? Now, if this makes a little box and does a lightning, like takes this out a little bit and makes my lightning swing, I'll change the size of my box. And I'm going to show you another way you can also do it if you want to be a little bit more what I call conservative. I'll show you how to trade it too. You can actually just do like a runner and just do like one, and what I'd like to see it do is make a little lightning consolidation patch, go up, come back and touch, and then buy it. Okay? Now, you won't always get that opportunity, but if you at least buy your one, it'll give you the opportunity to add if it does what I say it's like 90% of the time does. Let's see if it'll do it. I'll put it on about 8 times so we can see if we can get it. Okay, we're still long, and this is the way we draw this in that room too. It looks like we're going to get filled. That's resistance. Still holding. Now, like I say, this is a little riskier trade because to me, see how this is doing a little lightning? It's got a little low, high, higher low. It's getting ready to get a higher high, and you just got filled. Now, let me show you how to add to this, if we get it. See if we can get a little thrust up first. There's your little thrust up, and it needs to come right back down to there. See it right there? Right on top of that swing. And I just bought 3 more. See why I did that? Because it busted up above my swing. I look to the left to trade the right. I'm looking for it to kiss it again, and I also see this one to the left that's an a priori. So that was a safer way to get the one, just in case it rolled over, because we don't want it to roll over, right? And we'll go ahead and put our stop just under here for right now to see what this is going to do. We need a lightning swing. And I always like to look to the left to trade the right. So I see resistance right across here. So that's one of my targets. I see resistance right across here, but they've already touched it, right? So I'm figuring if they touch this one, that they're probably going to go ahead and go up to this one. So I would venture to say, since they've already been there, that your next spot's right there. So I'd bring one of them, fade it, always fade it a little bit, a couple of ticks or so, and then ride your runner. And ride your runner only with lightning, just the way we teach it. Now see, that's not a bad little trade, and there's a lot of traders that miss that particular trade because they think it's going short. Now, could you have shorted it up here? Absolutely, we just did. That was a lightning swing, wasn't it? Right there, high, low, higher, high. You know, could I get 5 ticks? More than likely, because it broke lightning. But keep in mind, that's a riskier trade because that's still an uptrend. And what if some news had come in and Russell would have or oil would have all of a sudden just shotgunned? Well, you might have lost a lot more than you gained if it blew through your stop or something like that. Okay, see how that works? Now, what if you weren't in this trade as of yet? Well, you got to look to the left to trade the right. So let's just check out the left and trade the right. I'm going to take off our lightning, and I'm going to look to the left. Okay, they busted up right across here, right at mid-band. Looking to the left to trade the right. Also see resistance here, and you got a little line you could draw right across there too. See, because they've already taken it out. That was resistance. So they'll probably kiss that. Everybody see that? And maybe we'll get a little ellipse and it'll show us that, very possibly. But see how it broke that little resistance there, that little lightning? I would be looking for a trade if I wasn't already in it between there and there. Let's just pretend we don't have it and see if we can get it. That's support. It just popped above my little line. I don't want it to take out support right here. There you go. Not too shabby. Okay? See how you can tell where they're going if you just look at your charts? Now, let's say that you walked in your room and you didn't even have a trade yet. I want everybody in this room to tell me where our next trade will more than likely be. Okay, let's wait for it to go ahead and see if it's going to get a higher high first. So far we are, and naturally our stop would be bringing up just under mid-band. When I phantom, be careful. You don't want to sell phantom at the top on a long. That's an opposite trade. On your question there, because your phantom trade is only, you're looking for the long on phantom at the bottom, and you're looking for the short on phantom at the top. Okay? And that's really important because look here. See this right here? Change directions from up to down, phantom trade, and even another phantom trade. Okay, but you really just want to take the first one and maybe the second one, but I'd be careful with thirds. Okay, but that's your phantom trade's the upper one between line 6 and 7. So technically it didn't touch line 6, so it's really this one right here. So between line 6 and 7, phantom trade to mid-band. Okay, and then when you go to a long trade, you're looking for this trade. Okay, where's our lightning on this chart right now, the way we teach to trade? Right there, isn't it? Wouldn't we want to put our stop there? I would. Exit on close. And you just hit a top here, right? Now, where do you think this is going to go? Well, let's look and see. Let's get rid of all of our lines. You got an ellipse right here, right? Okay, I see it now. You expect a higher low than this right here or no lower than this right here. That might have been it, actually. Let's see if we can get, I like them when they do an ABC, though. That hadn't done but an A. See where it's just gone straight down? Usually you get a little fake first. Thrust, retrace, thrust. Most everything happens in threes. There we go. Come on, a little bit lower. Got to do a C. Got to do a C. There's a C. See it? Broke my little swing right there. So that's now an A, B, C. Barely took it out. We don't want it to take this out. But if it does, this won't fire anyway because I'm using bar close. Okay, now if this fires early and it still goes down a little bit, I've got to hold it to where? That white line. So I'm going to put my stop just underneath here, like so. And that's a lightning swing, so if I want to, I can actually go ahead and reverse this if it does happen to take out that lightning swing, because we did do a double top. But it looks like we're going to be okay anyway. Okay, let's see, looking to the left to trade the right. See how I calculated that one? And our ellipse showed up. By the way, that ellipse, look where that hit, just on the money where that ellipse showed it would. You just draw your line. We could have made these into rectangles or something, but it just makes the chart look yucky. We like circles, ellipses. Is everybody starting to see where to draw on your charts, by the way? Because you can absolutely tell where to draw on your charts if you just get really sharp at looking at your charts. Now, we've got what we call shallow retraces and we've got what we call deeper retraces. See where this broke up above this little consolidation patch right here? That would be deeper. This would be shallow right here. like so. Everybody see that? And usually when you take those like that, you want to be real careful because that's already thrust up. But see how it hit that line almost on the money? It'll usually come right down and check it. Looking to the left, trade to the right, I see right here on this swing, like so, and I see this swing down below right there, secondary swing. So I'd be looking for a trade to either bounce off that line, take it out just a little bit, do an ABC, come on. Just a wick is all I want. May bounce right where it's at. I want it to wick it like it was taking somebody else out of the trade. There's your little wick. Turn it on. See why you want those little ABCs, even if they're what they call the minor ABCs, it's still got to be an ABC. Because you got to be careful if they just take it straight down with all their bars and they don't do a little jog. You got to get those lightning swings. Because without those lightning swings, you don't know if the trade is going to stop, where you're thinking it's going to. But you get these little support areas, and what do? They wick them. So that's what we call basically a fairly risky trade because it's a shallow retracement. But those will work for scalps. They will absolutely work for scalps. Now where do you think? Well, it just tested a little lower than here, so I would think it would test right here. Want to try it again? I think we just missed it. Nope, we didn't do our ABC. Sorry. There's A, B. I didn't do a C. I don't like that one. Yeah, it's still going up, but I don't like that one. See, it did an A, tried to retrace, and didn't take out the little low even by a wick. So no touchy. We're still in our 2. And of course, our stop wouldn't be way down here. Everybody knows that, right? It'd be all the way up. Well, at least under here, like so. Okay, now let me ask you a question. Where on this chart is our trend change? Just like we looked at on that black chart a little while ago. Everybody see it? You got a high, you got a low, you got a higher high. It ratcheted up. This is like a little low right here. And you think, whoa, wait a minute, that would still be an uptrend. But if it breaks what we call lightning, it could definitely take it on down too. So, high, low, higher, high, that's your lightning swing. You could be ready to take this trade. I'm going to go ahead and protect it at least under here. But this would be what I would consider my low that I wouldn't want taken out. And for sure this one would be. You see what I mean? This is a secondary low here. This is your primary low right here. So if it takes this out, this will more than likely be up here by then, if this continues up at all, that is. No, I'm not going to reverse it. So you got to turn those off quickly if you've got them turned on, because we're still in an uptrend so far unless we take this out right here. Now what you can do though is you can absolutely wait. I find also when they've done a nice thrust like that, you can also short under the ellipse too. Now see, that to me is starting to break down. See it right there? Bounced so far. I'm going to go ahead and short it, but the only reason is because it's below that. And I'm going to be very tight on it, put my stop just right above resistance, which is that little swing right there. Now, why did I actually short that? Well, because for one thing, it's gone up a lot. Okay? How much has that gone up? A bunch. You've had a thrust retrace, another thrust retrace, and they're barely taking out these highs so far. So is that a risky trade? Well, a little bit, but that's also my lightning swing. If you don't see it, draw it, because it's on there. Let me draw it from this side right here. Everybody see it? High, low, higher high. Definitely taking out the lows, and I'd probably put that just above that like that and exit on close. Okay? Everybody see why I did that? Now be careful when you do this type of trade, because that's strictly a lightning trade. That was just simply because I want to try to get a little, and you'd more than likely just turn on like a 10 tick or a 5 tick. That's lightning 3 on yours, yes, Kenneth. Now another way you can do this too, if you want to, draw you a trend line. So you can also see the trend line's broken too. You know, even if you drew it across here, see it's broken. See right across here, like so. See, it held that trend line all the way up, and then it started breaking it. It's breaking even the ellipse right now. Now, if you wanted to, you know, if you're thinking, wow, this thing, keep in mind, we're not looking for another phantom. That's second phantom. Let that retrace just a little bit, and if it takes out that line, I'm going to tag it. Now, why am I not looking for a phantom this time? Because it already had one. When you get your first phantom, don't look for that second one unless it really ratchets up. And this is not what I consider a real ratchet up. It's 15 ticks, but in the scheme of the longer type charts, that's not a lot. Now you could do it both ways. You could even box it in at phantom if you wanted to. You know, like let's say if you weren't in this just yet, see this little box right across here? Box it. Like so. There's lots of places to get into trades. Like so. See it break? Target would be here for one of them, and then let one of them run. Does everybody see? Let's look at the chart and see the same chart in black. I'm going to go ahead and stop this, pause it for just a second. Let's look at that blank chart in black and see if we can't tell that this has actually started doing a little downward trend. Bear with me a second. Got this one. Let me change these colors just real quick because this is really, I changed the blue is too light. I want to show it to you the way with a cyan color. Just one sec. Navy blue does not show up on a black chart very well. White does, of course. Greens and yellows do, so we're good there. Bear with me just one second. I'm going to get rid of predictor. Okay, looking at this chart right here, again, just the way we did earlier. Remember when it was way down here at 45 even? We'll go ahead and draw it. Go ahead and draw it. Let's get it a little bit further over so I can draw it. All right. Got a high, a low, a higher high, right? So that's where you would be changing trends to the opposite direction, right? Okay. That's 60. And let's see where it actually started dropping under 60. See there? Without looking at anything else on that chart, That was that a priori swing. High, low, higher high, breaks down. Okay? Now, you want to really, as a rule, let it break down a little bit, then come back and kiss. But if it breaks it with a vengeance, like, 6 or 7 ticks or something, and never comes back to that line, that is not chasing a trade. That's usually when they're breaking down good and solid. That particular trade on Friday was about before 9 o'clock. And you remember where we talked about boxing it in up here? Everybody? But see how that is easy to see on this chart right here? Taking all that off, taking it out of your mind, and then seeing that swing right there. Because that is an identified lightning swing, and it definitely took it out to the downside. Okay? And before that, what did you really have? Well, you kept having higher lows and higher highs, see? Every single time. So to me, I don't think it gets any easier than this because you're actually looking at these swings to take these trades. And we're still heading down, by the way. Now, what if you missed this trade? Mercy be, it's still heading down. Well, you've either got to chase it or you got to wait for a retracement. And when they drop extremely fast, where do you think the retracement's going to be? Anybody? Where it broke down. Let's put it in about 500 times and just see what it does. I got it going 500 times just so we can see. There's a little lightning swing, so you put your stop just above there, right? Exit on close. Just the way we teach it. I usually put it just a tick or so above it. A couple of ticks if you want to. Look to the left if there's anything. There's nothing over there right now. As soon as that drops, we'll drop it again like that. See there? But asking a question on this, where did this thing break down? Well, it for sure broke down on this secondary swing right here. Even if you think this was a little fake here because it barely took out this high up here, when it broke here, that was pretty much saying, I'm breaking down. Okay? And that's another time when you want to be real careful with phantoms. If they're taking out these medium swings, you don't want this phantom right here. That was also the second one. But even if it was your first one, you got to be careful. Because what was this doing before that? It was making those higher lows and higher highs. Even though this was a lower high than this one, see, this took out this low. This was your new established low once it made this high. But it pretty much stayed with those a priori swings. Now, where do you think more than likely you'd be able to get a trade on this chart right here? It just hit it. See it? If you would have had your dollar sitting there, we just saw that it broke down through here. Now, where did it break down? Well, it broke down actually all the way up here even. So this could actually be changing trends to even get up there. Because see, this is actually a 1, 2, 3 already. That's a little phantom trade, by the way. We're not going to be able to catch these with this going 500 times. Okay? But I think you remember this trade was called on Friday. And where do you think we called it when it came down and kissed that line right there? Does everybody remember it? And then we got a pretty decent little oil trade. That's a little late right there, but let's just try it. Doing 500 times. Let's see if we can get something higher low, higher high. Swing to the left at 56. Broke down big time right across here also. So that would be my ultimate goal. And then my stop would be just under that swing because that's your lightning swing now, your micro lightning. Now it would be right here. And you're out. Now, it could go higher, and that's fine, but I trusted that micro lightning on that, and that's still got a really, really nice trade. Okay, looking at this chart, what would it take to take this chart to the downside? And you're saying, well, wait a minute, we've got a green background and everything, but you can still take some of those trades like that. Watch and see if this doesn't. See there? It broke a little bit, and then you got you a 5 ticker at least. See there? That's that lightning swing. It's really important to draw on your charts because there's times when they do these really thrusts and change these colors and everything, but look at your overall trend on oil right now. You've got, this has been going up, 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 up all the time, and then they started really starting to break down, didn't they? And you can take some of these like this if you simply watch lightning on your chart. See, it just kissed it as resistance. And I missed it because it was 500 times, but see how it kissed resistance right there? My stealth was red. Am I heading down a little bit? Probably. Now I do have what? First time into phantom. Box it in if it takes out that little swing right there. We're going to reverse it. Took out that little swing right there. That's 500 times. This is hard to trade 500 times. But I practice it all the time. And there you go. You just got you a trade again. Okay? Was that first time into phantom right there? It absolutely was, wasn't it? So that's the type of trade that you're looking for. Now we got to see what it's really going to do. Is it going to break up? It's going to hit its head where it broke down, which it just did. It's amazing. This looks like it's going to change trends to me. Everybody see all that? And then look, it did change trends. I got to go on way too fast to trade. We'd have to slow it down. But I think everybody can tell by drawing on your charts where you're looking for your next trade. Mid-band also. Let's just see when it comes back to it. See if we can get one. Now, you know we would have already gotten that one if it wasn't going 500 times, but obviously at 500 times it's hard to get. Now, if you're a gutsy trader and you just want to take a chance on a bar close, you know, you certainly can do it, but I'd wait for it to take out that little swing right there because that's like a little, at 90, it should bounce a little bit. If it doesn't, you know, you can chase a trade anytime you want. If you're up this much money and you want to take a chance on chasing a trade, you can certainly do it because that's definitely breaking down. But just be careful if you do it. Because you might walk and get a cup of coffee, come back and it's already done this, say, you know what, dadgummit, I'm just going to go ahead and take it. You know, turn on your bar close. If this one goes up, we could get a little bit better entry. But I'd be looking for this trade right here if it would come back to it. But it may not. That was a pretty good breakdown. Now, I'll ask a real quick question. What does everybody think about trading that phantom on Monday? And watch for those mid bands. Box them in. Box in, though, smart. Because if you just box in those little bitty consolidation patches, a lot of times you're going to get a decent trade. But if you look to the left to trade the right, you've got a resistance area or a support area that needs to be taken out also. That did do a candle up and a candle down, didn't it? Watch it retrace on me now. That'll happen to you, though, if you take a thrust. We'll see if it works. It just looks like it wants to head down. Anytime I see bars heading down that strong like that, I'd put a pretty tight stop as soon as it breaks this little swing. If it breaks this little swing. And that's not really a swing, it's just a candle. See how you had candles down, 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 up. We want this one to go down. And as soon as it does and closes, which it hadn't yet, I'd protect my coin. There you go. That's good enough. See your little lightning swing? Looking to the left to trade the right. Let's see, got a swing right down here at 45.64 and 45.57. And we need to take this upper part out first, but it looks like they already are actually. See it? They're just right on top of it. But see, even by chasing this, I got a little coin on it. You just got to be careful chasing it. And if you do chase it, let it at least shoot the bar, rather than hitting market order, at least let the bar go back down. Because by doing that, you're going to assure that it doesn't do a bar up, bar up, bar up, bar up, hit a resistance, and then roll over. So the little bar close feature is pretty nice. Okay, let's look to the left to trade the right and see. We're almost out of time. Does everybody think they're going to draw on their charts a little bit better next week? Let's see where ellipse shows up. Those ellipses are really important on these trades for little bounces. Where would our stop be right now? Right there. By the way, I'm going to show you real quick the trade that I was talking to that gentleman about yesterday, and what it can do to you if you don't trade it the correct way, because it's really, really important. See how that's coming right up to resistance. Perfect little area. And if it takes me out, it takes me out, but I'm trusting that resistance area right there. Target's right there at 77. See where they come back and they kiss these lines? Pretty good way to trade. Let's go ahead and I'm going to show that afternoon trade just real quick. We'll just shut this one down. It doesn't matter. Bear with me 1 second. I'm going to go ahead and kill this data right here, and I'm going to go to the real stuff just for a second. Hit a perfect ellipse, by the way. And I'm going to start up the account. And we'll see what oil did on Friday. And I'll show you that trade and how to diagnose it. Bear with me just a second. It's loading. Hopefully I don't lock up Ninja. It's coming in. See if we can get it. How do you show price on this chart? You mean, Nasir, on the where I've got the text that shows on it? Haven't got the new computer up just yet, Peter. It's going to be this afternoon. I had the webinar this morning, so I had to get that out of the way. Bear with me a second. This is not loading just yet. And let's see, it was around, if I remember right, yeah, here was one of them right here. I'll show you something here. The chart's drawn on still from yesterday, even because I was, we were on the phone and everything. If you walked in your room and this happened to be where you were at, and it breaks down, okay, like that. Now, what do you think is going to happen on this chart? Isn't it going to do just what we talked about? See how it's coming right back to that 90 area right there? You got a little swing right across here at 92. And look at that. That trade right there alone with your account would be, say, 90, I don't know, you would have probably gotten in at about 88 or so, 87. And this thing went all the way to the ellipse and gave one heck of a trade. Okay? Now, one thing I want to mention to you, being careful about, is when you get in these areas, let me just show you something here, just real quick. This was a little bit later, I think. towards afternoon, if I remember right. This little area right here. Okay. Notice how at the time you basically got a little bit of resistance right here. You got your support right down here. And the deal is still drawn on the chart. And I mentioned to the person I was talking to, basically to box it in. Okay. And what you'd want to do is you want to be real careful until you take out another resistance area. If you look to the left to trade the right, that's your resistance area right there, right? Okay. You do have right here, but it's not identified just yet. So that's that same area that they can wick you in. See that candle right there? That can wick you in that trade to the long side. Okay. So you want to be careful, you know, taking out like resistance. Draw on your chart if you don't see it. I'll draw it from over here so we can see it. Well, from over here then. Okay. See that little swing there? High, low, high, lower high, lower low. That's resistance right there. So to me, to take this back up, you pretty much have to take that out. Okay. And then you've got a target up in here and here. Okay. But boxing it in both ways, you got to be careful because see, this would have wicked you in. And then you end up very possibly getting a stop out. Because if you look at support over here at 64, and you got a little wick over here even at like 63, see there? That was a great little trade, by the way. And that person took that on their actual account and everything and it turned out to be a decent trade. Okay, because we diagnosed it in real time. Now notice that we didn't look for the phantom at the time. And why didn't we look at the phantom at the time? Because it took out lightning support. Remember we talked about that just a little while ago. You got your lightning swing, another lightning swing. Takes that out. It's not going to phantom and bouncing. Not normally. Now if your phantom's just right near this by 3 or 4 or 5 ticks, and it just takes it out and then pops up, then you'd simply get out of this trade. This broke down right here on that candle. Okay? So, you know, it's real important to be able to box these in the correct way. Okay? You always want to make sure you don't just get sucked into a trade that's going to go the opposite direction and then you just get stopped out. Okay? And that's why I personally like to put mine with these boxes at these resistance areas. Okay. To me, when I see lightning, I know for a fact that when you're looking at this in real time, this is a high, this is a low, this is a lower high, this is a lower low. So where would it have to take out at least to head back up? Well, it's got to take out at least resistance. And notice that it just kept heading on down. And then you just keep putting your stop. See how it's just wicking it right through there? Well, watch what happened later. So there's lots of trade. By the way, I was real proud of where he got out of this too. I'm pretty sure it was right down in here where it kind of took out this line with the closed bar, if I remember right, because he took all his profit from up here. Okay? But that's the way to trade it. That's the way to draw on your charts. And we do this every single day in that room. And, you know, it'll soak in, believe me, even if you're new to it, it'll definitely soak in. Let's see, how do you show current price on OT? Nasir, what do you mean I'm not following the current price on OT? Because we're at the end of the chart right here, but if we were to put OT on the chart in replay, you might have to call me on that, Nasir. I'm not sure what you're asking. I think he wants to know about the bid. Oh, the bid ask. Okay, the bid ask was taken off of Object Trader, and the reason that we did that is because it was slowing Object Trader down in a big, big way. Okay, because when you have numbers showing up down there on a strategy and they're changing, you know, faster than grease lightning, that's what was happening on those, like inventory came out or something like that. It would lock your charts up. So we had to make that decision. But you can also Can't you go into NinjaTrader's control center and see it? I think you can. Or just put up a separate chart trader chart. Is there a way to show ticks instead of dollars on OT? No, Diane, there's not. In the future, that may be something we do, kind of like chart trader does. But object trader is still a little bit in its infancy. And things like that people ask for, we'll definitely look into. I even want to get it in the future to where if you're shooting for like 80% on your trades, to give an example, it'll even tell you how many contracts you need to trade. You know, because if you're doing 80% on your trade management, then obviously kicking up contracts would make you money. There's some stuff that we'll be adding to Object Trader on that, but I don't know exactly when, because this guy that I use as my programmer, the best in the world, I think, but he is busier than anybody I've ever seen. All right, anybody have any final questions before we wrap? Kenneth said a light came on that. I think you just made the most important point of the day. I'm going to trust that swing. That's the whole thing, because those swings, you know, when you look at them on your chart, they're pretty important, okay? Now, if you go against the trend, be sure and just do some little scalps and things, or scalp, you know, a few contracts and write a runner, because you could obviously get a runner. But until they take out those, you know, to give an example in this chart right here, does that look like if it took this out right across here, you're pretty much changing trends? See there? Now this could go on up, we don't care, but right now this is our high, low, a priori swing, higher high, never made an a priori, higher high. So that's your a priori. So basically this goes like this. It goes from here to here, and then all the way up to here. Because see, you have a low here, and then there's a high, and then even another high. That's the way Lightning will draw this in the very near future too. So I would be looking very possibly to short this if it takes this out, and I don't care if the background's green. But most times it will do this. It will come down, it'll kiss, and then it'll roll over. And you've also got a phantom. Okay, this could easily be an A, B, C phantom coming down to about right through here. See that swing? So I'd be looking for a phantom also, but I still wouldn't be afraid to short that right there, because that's a medium swing. That's a lightning swing with an a priori. And if it was to break it just barely and pop right back up it, I'd kill it in a heartbeat. And that'll happen. You know, there's times where you'll get in a trade and it can go against you. It just depends how aggressive you are. But I'd also be covering that short from up here down right about that phantom area, and I'd be boxing it in down here to take a long trade. Okay? All right, thanks everyone for coming. Hope you enjoyed it, and it is recorded and it'll be up on the website in just a few minutes. Thanks everyone. Have a great day. Oh, Diane, on your question, when it doesn't make an a priori, then it's mostly a minor swing. Those a prioris are basically 15 candle strength. And you know, for instance, by looking at this chart, that's 15 candles. See that right there? See how it just kind of slopped around as it goes down? That's actually a swing of 15 strength. All right. Thanks, everyone.